Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Beltsville, Public Information Director for the Prince George's County Fire and EMS Department. I want to thank you all for joining us. Career volunteer. I'm Alan Beltsville, Public Information Director for the Prince George's County Fire and EMS Department. I'd like to thank community members, the elected officials, the career and volunteer members for joining us here for this very important topic. I'd like to now turn the podium over to Fire Chief Tiffany Green, Prince George's County Fire Chief.
Thank you, Alan. So I don't know if you guys can hear me, especially those online. Good evening. As Alan mentioned, I'm Fire Chief Tiffany Green, and with me here today and around the room is a command staff and a few key stakeholders. Thank you for taking time out of your busy evening to hear from us as we provide an overview of the temporary relocation of fire and EMS resources at the station. In December of 2023, we received a complaint from one of our career firefighters working here at the station regarding unsafe working conditions. We immediately scheduled an inspection with our Fire Prevention and Life Safety Office. The results of this inspection revealed numerous health and safety concerns within this building. The building, as you already know, was built in 1947 and is owned by the Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department. Over the last few years, the county has invested more than $260,000 worth of repairs to this building, but there's still more to be done by both the county and the Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department. The station is staffed by a total of 20 career personnel and is supplemented approximately once a month by our volunteer members. As the fire chief, one of my primary responsibilities is to ensure the safety of our personnel. The job that our firefighters and paramedics, both career and volunteer, do is very dangerous, and it is unacceptable to me that they have to work in unsafe conditions. Some of the deficiencies will be able to correct it quickly. In fact, some of them have already been corrected. Others may require more extensive work and the assistance of contractors and other county partners. My commitment to this community is that we are concerned about your safety as well, and we are making the necessary adjustments to our operational plans to ensure coverage within our performance measures. My second commitment is that we will communicate with our community and provide you with updates of that progress. I have heard and spoken with many of you here today. Believe me when I tell you, no fire chief wants to reduce services or close fire stations. In this situation, we are not reducing services, nor are we closing the station. We are temporarily relocating our personnel to ensure their safety. Additionally, we'll be working with our volunteers to ensure that they're still able to deliver service to this community safely. Over the next few minutes, I would like you to hear from Deputy Chief Hughes to discuss the operational changes and service coverage for the Beltsville community.
We have a roving mic.
I think we need to get through. We're going to open it up for questions. We're going to open it up for questions.
Who's responsible for paying for and taking care of the unsafe working conditions? Is that the county or is that the volunteers?
It's going to be a combination of both. Again, we don't own the building. Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department does. However, we're going to talk about what our plan is, what our steps are, line by line, how we're going to address those. If you could just give us a few minutes to give you the plan.
One more question. So the last couple of years, you didn't know this building was unsafe, and the county didn't come in and say, "Let me fix it."
So the county has, over the last 3 years, has put $260,000 into repairs into this building. We also,
what is it for the violations?
so for the violations that are noted today, we're going to talk about those if you just give us an opportunity to address them.
Because we want to know.
Understood. But let's, what I want to do,
$260,000.
I appreciate that. Please understand there's a lot of people in the room and we want to have some order. But we can't take questions from everybody right away. We will try to address every question that we can. Okay? Thank you, the time that we have.
Real quick before Deputy Chief Hughes takes the podium. Thank you all for your concern and your comments. We will have a dedicated segment after our specific speakers are done talking. So we'll get through a total of 6 speakers, and then we're going to open the floor up for questions and comments. Thank you. Deputy Chief Hughes.
Good evening, everyone.
Everybody hear me all right?
Just want to give an overview of what the staffing redeployment plan is going to look like. So as the chief mentioned, we are not closing the station down. We are going to redeploy personnel. We're not removing any apparatus. 2 engines, 1 ladder truck, and a BLS unit will stay at the station. Personnel are going to a couple different work sites as we work through these issues here. So the current makeup, as I mentioned, is the BLS unit at Station 31. we're gonna redeploy those personnel to Station 841 along with the unit. So that'll give the staffing complement at 841 to 8 personnel. They'll have a basic life support ambulance, an advanced life support ambulance, and a paramedic engine that's equipped with all the life-saving equipment and gear that the ambulances do. They just don't do the
Can I
training.
ask a question for those of us who don't know the numbers? Can you tell us where?
Yeah,
that
I'm
is?
sorry. So Station 41 is the Calverton station. This is Station 31. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Could you repeat that whole thing again? And could you speak a little louder? Because it's not projecting back here.
How about this?
Better.
Okay. I'll just start from the beginning. I know there was some issues there. So
What is your name?
Tony Hughes, operations deputy with the fire department. Excuse me. So as I mentioned, we're not closing the station, and we're not taking out any apparatus. We're reassigning personnel as we work through some of the issues here. So currently, the staffing of the station, as the chief mentioned, is 20 personnel. That gives us 5 on each shift. 2 of those people are assigned to a basic life support ambulance. The personnel on that unit are going to be reassigned to Station 841, and we will put another basic life support ambulance at that station. That'll bring the staffing complement to Station 841 in Calverton up to 8 personnel. It'll give them a basic life support unit, an advanced life support unit that carries cardiac monitors and a lot of cardiac medications as well as other medications, and a paramedic engine, which carries the same equipment that the transport unit does. They just don't do the transport. So 8 career personnel assigned to the Calverton station 24/7. The other personnel are going to go to Station 10 up in Laurel. That will bring their staffing complement up to 6 personnel as well. So there'll be 4 on suppression, and there's an advanced life support medic unit that's going to stay at Station 10. In addition, there are 2 other advanced life support units within 5 miles.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Could you stop playing with your phone and actually pay attention to us? Thank you. No, you don't need to. You need to pay attention to us and not play on your phone. Thank you.
There are 2 other advanced life support units within 5 miles of Beltsville. One of them, again, coming from Station 810 up in Laurel. The other one's coming from Station 35 in Greenville. In addition, it's important to note that we don't necessarily just rely on station location when we're dispatching apparatus. We use some technology that's auto vehicle locator. It uses GPS sensors to make sure that we dispatch the closest appropriate unit to the emergency incident. So, for instance, if you are in Beltsville and there's a unit riding up Route 1 that's closer to your residence, we would pull the unit that's riding up Route 1 regardless of where they are typically assigned. The other technology we use to make sure we don't have any service gaps is move-up technology or live mom. It uses 10 years worth of data along with real-time incident to allow us to redeploy units if we identify any station gaps or coverage gaps. We have an on-duty duty chief that's responsible for doing that. It oversees all emergency operations in the county. They monitor this system 24/7 and make adjustments as necessary. So again, rest assured, I understand the impacts, the emotion that's involved here. We are not closing the station. We are reassigning personnel so we can work through some of these issues. Station 841 is in Calverton, is approximately 2 miles from this location.
Is anybody going to Greenville?
Greenbelt currently has 6 career personnel assigned there 24/7.
None from this.
No, ma'am.
Excuse me, she has a question. She wants to know if we're leaving apparatus here, who's manning the apparatus that is here?
So we have a discussion later this evening to talk with the leadership of Beltsville and how that resource deployment is going to be utilized.
Okay, so that means, I'm assuming, she's assuming that means volunteers can be in the stuff that's here. So if it's unsafe for the county, you're saying it's safe for the volunteers?
We'll let Chief Smedley address much of that, but
I have a question. I keep hearing you say temporarily close the station.
we're not closing the station.
Temporarily is the end of this.
Reassigning.
Reassignment, relocation, just play on words, but what I want to hear is, when are you going to recall the staff that's being staff counselor back here so they can serve the community like they were since?
Right, 1947, right,
Yes.
understood.
So when is that going to?
Yep, and Chief Smedley is going to talk on the specifics of the inspection program.
And will you put that in writing?
But
Will you put that in writing that it will reopen?
Yes.
it's not closed.
that it will
Fully
be.
staffed.
That will be fully staffed.
But understand, you keep saying closing. If it were closing, then we would stick with the building and not allow anyone to enter
But you're not
the structure.
saying when they're gonna come back.
Because we don't know the extent of that the inspection's gonna be.
But you're taking the pavement out during the day where we need the pavement because the volunteers work during the day. So you are
Correct.
technically hindering us. And I do have a question, because obviously I'm fired up. How far is it, I hope you all live in PG County that are trying to close or not close this building. I hope you all live in PG County, because I want to know how close is the closest firehouse to your due area? To where you live. Like, if you, do you live, I live in Beltsville, I can walk to this firehouse. How close is the firehouse to your house? And do you all live in PG County trying to get rid of the pavement in our firehouse? Do you live in PG County?
I do.
Do you live in PG County?
I do.
All right, how far is the firehouse?
I live in Brandywine, and that firehouse is at least 6 minutes from my house.
6 minutes from your house. So,
And I live in a rural area, so the next one is 15
so
minutes.
if I have to get a fire truck from Laurel, it's gonna be more than 6 minutes, especially the traffic and the fire engines. So if you all have people, why didn't you give them to us? Why should we have to wait 10 minutes to have a fire truck come for us? Why don't you put a sub-building outside for the pavement to be in? Because it's.
Yeah, if we can put our kids in trailers, why can't they be in trailers?
Exactly.
Give us some trailers.
I want to address your question. Can you answer her question?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Corey Smedley. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Corey Smedley. I'm 7 days in. I was brought here for some specific reasons. One was to ensure that our facilities are where they need to be for our entire department, volunteer career.
Chief, what is your job?
I am the Deputy Chief of Support Services, and part of the portfolio has to do with facilities
In the county.
for Prince George's County.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, to answer your question, why is it okay for the career to leave and not the volunteer? We're not suggesting that it's okay for anyone to be here. What we're suggesting is we have the authority to move the career personnel, and we will discuss the options after this meeting for our volunteer personnel. So let me finish. We're going to have time for question and answer, and I want everybody to be able to hear what we're planning to do so everybody has the same information.
But whose responsibility is it? It's our understanding.
It is the volunteer and the career department's
So
responsibility.
they fill out a work order and the county is responsible for fixing those mistakes or problems?
I'm going to get through my piece, and then we'll open up for question and answer. Please, we're on the same team, and we want the same safety. for
No, we're not.
So, what my part of the process is to talk about the inspection and what are the next steps to remedy any situation that is unsafe for our personnel. So we did conduct an inspection based on a call that came in about unsafe conditions. The fire department did a fire inspection, and we identified some violations.
Do you have a date on that?
We did the inspection in December of 2023, and we provided a correction order to Ms. Margie Dickey. What are the things that concern, the highest thing that concerns us is the fact that, one, we just had a fire in another station, Station 20 in Marlboro. And one of the violations that was noted is the fact that there are egress issues or the ability for us to evacuate. Luckily, at the Station 20 in Marlboro, they were able to evacuate without having any issues and no peril. In this situation, the egress has a challenge based on the fire door failing the fire code. That is one of the biggest issues, and that's something that we can remedy within our purview. There are other things that the inspection revealed that's not within our purview. Things like cancer-causing situations. Where we have not left the station yet, because based on the fire inspection that we did, in a normal situation, whether it's a building owned by the county or the fire department or private or the volunteer fire department or a private entity, we would not normally placard a building to tell people to evacuate for these things. They're unsafe, but we can manage in those spaces. The things that are outside of our control, that we need an assessment to be done by subject matter experts, has to do with the other things that were brought up. Things such as how off-gassing of carcinogen based on our firefighting gear, based on the fact that the exhaust can get through the station that shouldn't get through the station, based on the fact that there's some sewage issues that could potentially have some environmental problems. So the next step is to have the meeting tonight with our volunteer leadership, bring in the subject matter experts to do the assessment. The county will pay for that assessment. That assessment will be a comprehensive report on what needs to be done to rectify all the violations. That process takes about 2 to 5 weeks. Once we get that assessment, we just simply say go or no go. We're going to say go. We're going to say go with the stakeholders in the room to talk through how to prioritize the work that needs to be done. That prioritization will start with the highest level of risk. At that point, that means that if that's the highest level of risk, we can't have people in this structure. And we can take the career personnel out, and we will work with the volunteer leadership to come up with a plan. Then there are other parts of the process that are also a risk, but potentially can be occupied. And when we get to that stage of the process, we will reoccupy the building. That design and scope of work process after the assessment is done is about another 3 to 6 weeks. We already have a vendor that we have been working with 5 times previously that has given us significant assessment reports that we're in phases to remedy some other issues in other stations. What I can't sit here and tell you with confidence is once we do the design and scope, that we'll be back fully in 6 months. If anybody's in construction, and I talked to the resident out here earlier, we know that's not the case. When they come in and start to peel back things, they will find other things potentially. When we can get back after the high-risk issues are resolved, we will be back in this station. That's it. That's the same.
Have you been inspecting this building every year, or wait, all of a sudden we're inspecting it and then we're like in panic mode? Have you been inspecting it every year? Because you're the county. Have you been inspecting our building?
I can't say in confidence that every single year that every station has been inspected.
Okay, has this been inspected in the last 5 years? Because we have had 5 years and happened 5
years. This building has been inspected through our inspection process. The last data we have is from 2013. Is that accurate? Let me be clear. That doesn't mean that these issues existed in 2013. That's not what I'm saying. I'm answering the question that I have documentation that states there has been inspections since 2013. This problem hasn't existed based on the inspections from 2013.
I would think if this building, we're paying our taxes, and I would think it would be inspected minimum every 5 years. So 2013, and now we're in 2024, and we're in panic mode because we're losing our career people.
No, I wouldn't gauge it as panic mode. I gauge it as we have the information.
We're in panic mode. Everybody in this room, we are in panic mode. And what I really want to know is, did you ever even consider putting trailers out here for them? Because we shouldn't lose them. Give them trailers. They're
I
not
can't
that
hear
expensive.
both people talking at the same time.
How many career and volunteer firefighters have felt ill from these assessments and safety hazards that can affect their health? How many have felt ill from that? If this building is such a hazard, what are the statistics for that?
I don't have that off the top of my head. We can get the statistics of all our health and wellness statistics. But I'll answer the question. You asked the question, has trailers been considered? We are going to consider everything to minimize any impact to the community. We will meet. We will meet with the leadership of Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department. So I want you all to understand that the final decision hasn't been made yet because we have to put the plan together, and we will have the stakeholders in the room to do that.
But
So,
this is just
yes, sir.
based on one person.
Lino Crasani, I live here in Beltsville. Give you a little background. The organization I'm retired from has renovated 2 times now. Old Station 10 in Laurel, next to Pilate High School.
Yes.
I'm going to say the first time we renovated, we bought the building in 1997. Yes, I understand the old buildings need to be redone. We had a lot of work done at that time. But we ran our 400-man local from double wide trailer out in the parking lot for a year and a half while the construction was going on. And again, I understand the egress things. I understand, I'm an asbestos worker by trade. I'm sure there's some of that here in this building. I just believe that all of it can be done at once. And I would think before you closing it down and moving things around, you would have all those assessments done first. So you could present them tonight to have them to say, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to move everybody for 6 months or a year. I had the contractor already selected on the work that has to be done. I mean, this is kind of a pre-meeting to maybe what's coming.
It exactly is, and that's why no one has gone yet, because we want to have our plan together. We want to do that not in the vacuum. We want to deal with our stakeholders, and one of our stakeholders is the Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department.
And I can assure you, it can be done in trailers. I mean, we did it in 1997. We just renovated 4 years ago.
Understand?
We moved out at that time and went to another facility for a year.
We will consider all the options to ensure that the health and safety is first and paramount, not only to our volunteers and career, but also to our community. That plan hasn't been developed yet. We are having a meeting right after this meeting to talk to those things. And there will be many meetings after that to lay out a plan that will be communicated to the community.
I respect that you're trying to get a safe work environment for both volunteer and paid. Again, the community is worried that the coverage is not there. It can be done from trailers, I'm telling you. And if you come back with something different, I think there's going to be a lot of upset people.
I understand. I understand. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Trailers give the volunteers a safe place to go too.
You're right. Absolutely. And we've used trailers previously, so that's not new. We just don't have the plan together. We're just trying to explain to you what the situation that we have, that we know right now, and what the next steps are. Yes, sir.
So you say you will communicate this to us. How are we to believe that you're going to communicate this to us when this began to happen? You said December, right? Nobody knew about this. And the only reason we know is because somebody stepped up and said something that wasn't supposed to. You guys tried to do this without telling us. You tried to do it behind the scenes. And now that we called you on it, you want to have this meeting and play nicey nice. How are we to trust any communication that comes from you guys or lack thereof?
And to follow up on Rick, when was this communicated to our leaders here?
Friday.
Aren't you ashamed of that?
And it still hasn't been communicated to the volunteer fire. It has not been officially communicated to the volunteer. I appreciate your question, and it deserves an answer. So, from the moment we found out about it, again in December, we worked with our leadership to get some meetings with our council members first to discuss the plan. That took about 2 weeks when we did that. Once we met with the council member, the next meeting was with our delegation, which happened immediately. In between that, we sent several emails to the leadership of the volunteer association to meet. Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department. We did not get a response back from them. And then we set this meeting today as a result of our meeting. So we have been trying to get this meeting.
You set this result.
So we have been actively working to do that. Now, what I will say is, I'm not going to stand up here and make excuses. We want to communicate to the community. And that's our commitment, is that we will do that. We do understand that you're concerned. And we will communicate our plan. We will communicate how we're going to keep both career and volunteers safe.
Let's be honest. You didn't set this meeting until the people in this room started calling our elected representatives on Thursday. And then all of a sudden this meeting got, because you got caught with your pants down. Period.
Yeah, I want to reiterate that our last inspection was 2013. Why didn't you inspect us?
One second. Tom Benoit County Council, pleasure to represent you.
I'll just say, I'll preface this with, I'm not necessarily in favor of this plan, but just to be fair to the chief, we need to be fair, we don't like what's going on. They tried to schedule a meeting with me about 2 weeks ago, we did not know why. The meeting finally got, about a week ago, we heard about Beltsville. We had the meeting Friday, so that's when I found out about what was going on. I immediately contacted our delegates, who immediately got engaged. The first thing that I asked the chief to do was to schedule a meeting here with you, and she did that immediately. Okay, so even though stuff was happening a month ago, at least give the chief credit. When I asked for a meeting with the community, she honored that.
Why wasn't Beltsville notified of these issues? I understand, Margie, did you get any emails about issues?
That's why I'm good.
That's a separate, I'll leave that to the chief. But the chief was going through what I believe was a process, which she felt she needed to talk to the council member. And I immediately said, we got to get with the volunteers, with the delegates, and with you. Okay, so that's all I can tell you. I want to give the chief credit for coming out here.
But I don't think you can say to be fair. It's been a long time since we've been inspected. If we were inspected 5 years ago, we wouldn't be in this panic.
I'm not going to disagree with you, okay? I'll
But you're saying to be fair to them. It's not fair to them.
I'm only saying to be fair in terms of how this got scheduled.
Yeah, but now we're in panic mode. We had 10 years to work on this file now.
Ma'am, the words, I want you to understand, the last time that we can document the inspection was 2013. That wasn't the last time the inspection happened.
Okay, here's the papers. Our county taxes are paid.
Yes, ma'am.
So where's the documentation?
If you want documentation, can we give out
I want
documentation?
2014, 2015, if you're inspecting us, we have all these things, yes.
Every year.
If you can't find it, then how do we believe it's done? I mean,
If I can't find it?
if you can't find the documentation.
No, I didn't say I couldn't find the documentation. That's not what I said.
You said that the only documentation you have.
From 2013, and so let me be clear. I just stated to you all. So this is day 7 for me. It's day 7 because the chief asked me to come out of retirement. She recognized an issue. She recognized an issue, and she asked me to come to help. So no, that's not the case. She recognized an issue. So it's day 7. I have what I have right now based on the inspection. I'm telling you, based on what the direction the chief gave me, we're going to do an assessment. We're going to work with Beltsville. I talked to Margie for the first time today. That's the honest truth. I'm giving you the honest truth. I need you to give me and the chief an opportunity to fix this. No one is out the station right now. No one is out the station. The station is still being staffed. Give us an opportunity to work with the volunteer leadership so that we can find solutions to be safe in this facility and to protect you at the same time.
But if it's so dangerous, why are we still staffed?
Can you put 2 residents on that committee?
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm asking everybody to let them finish, and then we'll have a lot of questions that I'm sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody here for your support this evening. My name is Margie Dickey. I'm the president of Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department. I can assure you that all stakeholders were not included in this decision. We have never received notification, verbal or written, from the county regarding their decision to try to remove the personnel, the career personnel from our station. We contacted Mr. Denoga on a rumor that we had heard that they were going to be removed. Our career staff was asked to look at other stations to bid out, is their terminology, which means that they are asking to be reassigned somewhere. Our question is, if this is a temporary closing, why were they being reassigned and not detailed to another station? We contacted Mr. Denoga in an effort to be proactive to the community because we understand the fire and EMS is going to be greatly affected by this decision. We were not contacted via email to have a meeting set up until after I spoke to Mr. Denoga and Ms. Lehman regarding this decision. After that, we were contacted and requested a meeting, which we have not complied with because we don't want to have a meeting prior to our meeting with you so that we can get our information. The possible sewage was reported by Beltsville and a capital improvement project request. The documentation I found was as early as 2017. We reported that we would like us to be included in a capital improvement project to research the possible sewage from our engine bays that is possibly leaking into our foundation. The kitchen renovation was done in 2018 downstairs, and that's when we first found out about the other plumbing and sewage, and so we had hoped it would be addressed at that time. It was not. The report for the money that was spent on Beltsville for the last 2 years, I'd like to see that report to see how $260,000 was spent here. The assessment that was done in December, we have an assessment that was done independently by our insurance company in October. The report that we received says, I can advise the head of the report there are no issues our company would deem as a critical item. And that comes from our insurance company. So I understand that they don't look at the same things for the life safety hazard, but our insurance company has found nothing critical that they think that that needs to be addressed. Also, we have the fuel pumps that are supposed to be maintained and are used by the entire county, police department, fire department, probably public works. When they're doing the assessment here, we are also asking that the fuel pumps be assessed to make sure that that is safe for the environment as well. And then some of the other issues that were found in the assessment that we got from December, most of them have already been addressed. They were fairly easy issues. The other issues, we are looking into how we can do that, as our county funding has been reduced over the last couple of years. So if we're to fund them, we're trying to find ways that we can actually fund those changes. In addition to that, over the last couple months, we have decided to submit for a bond bill from the state to assist us in having an elevator put into our station so that we can comply with ADA for the community hall, so that we can have more of our community actually be able to participate in things here. While I was doing the application for that bond bill in an effort to be proactive, I also requested a significant amount of money for the Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department so that we can help assist in getting these renovations done so that our contractors can hopefully get the work done quicker than the county contractors may, and we can get the personnel back in here.
If I may, my name is Jocelyn Pena-Milne, and I represent Beltsville with Mary Lehman, who's right here. And we are actually in session right now for the next 90 days. And Jim Rosapep as well, and Ben Barnes. Jim and Ben are in Annapolis because we work around the clock, but Mary and I came and we represent the team. I'd like a few minutes, if I may.
Just need to know who you are and whom you represent.
Jocelyn Pena-Milne. I am a Maryland State delegate, and I represent Beltsville. It's in the 21st District with Mary Lehman, Jim Rosapep, and Ben Barnes.
Thank you for explaining.
Thank you. So we had a meeting yesterday with the chief. Thank you so much for meeting with us. We found out on Friday, and we immediately worked on getting a meeting with her. I have a couple of questions, and for full disclosure, my son is a volunteer firefighter. Okay, so I know what it takes to be a volunteer firefighter. When he told me he wanted to be one, I was like, why? I know we wanted help, but it's a lot of commitment. He does like 40 hours a month. All right, and he takes a lot of classes. So my question, and I stand here as someone who the bills for the firefighters come to my committee, and I'm the one that defends them on the floor. So I come as someone that is very supportive of everyone. My question is a couple of questions. You stated that you have spent $260-something thousand, all right, on the station. But the truth is that Prince George's County does not have enough career people to cover every station, and that you could not cover it without the volunteer firefighters. Amen. And if you had to pay the career firefighters to cover what the volunteer firefighters do, it will be a lot more money than $264,000. the fact is that they can raise those funds. How many spaghetti dinner and pie sales do they have to do to raise that fund? I think that there is in this county for decades now this thing between the career firefighters and the volunteer firefighters that is very negative. We're all in this together. I think the county should pay for the repairs. Also, I know from speaking with Margie, and she sent me the paperwork, that the station had made several requests for the the CIP, and a lot of their requests did not make it into the CIP to be funded. And I just reviewed some of the station, and I didn't see the station as a priority. If these were issues that were important, they should have been in the CIP and gotten funded as well. So my question is, you said the station is not closing, but if you're removing the career people, what does that mean in essence? Does that mean that now they don't have an ambulance because there's no one to drive it, and you leave the station without an ambulance, right? You leave it with volunteers that there's 16 of them, they have to work around the clock, and is it that we're not going to have coverage on a Monday and Tuesday and have coverage on a Friday and Saturday? You leave us exposed. And I mean us because I'm part of this community. And I have represented for 17 years with Mary, Jim, and Ben, and we care very much about these issues. So I would like you to consider having the trailers, reconsider keeping some career people here so there's an ambulance, because a minute late can make a difference in someone's life. Trust me, as someone that is the chairman of the health committee as well. So you want solutions. I know for a fact that when we want something, we do it. So if you could go with a lot of respect, okay, if you could go back and try to come up with a plan tomorrow and the next day about having trailers here, assigning a career person here so it stays open, and finding money to fix these problems, because the county knew about these problems and they should be addressed. And the frustration that you hear from everyone else here is the fact that these are not issues that came from yesterday. It's decades long, and that we should have done better. And lastly, each and every one of you here have the power of a pen. You have the power of your mouth. You call Angela Olsen-Brooks. She's the county executive for Prince George's County. She hired the chief. The decision lays with her. And you make sure you make calls, and you send emails, and you get on Facebook, and you get on Twitter, and make sure that you make this. And each and every one of you knows at least 100 people. All right? Because it matters.
Good evening, everyone. And she has a tough act to follow, and I'll try. I'm Mary Lehman. I'm honored to be one of your District 21 delegates as well. And Jocelyn and Ben and Jim are great teammates. I also had the honor of being your previous county council member prior to Mr. Dranoga. Thank you, Tom, for your great work and for coordinating this with us. Chief, Corey, Mr. Smedley, who I've known for years, you're doing great work overall, but I just want to be really candid. I don't want to single anyone out. I would say the same thing to the county executive. I have always told my staff, I've told my kids, everyone, as a former journalist, a little communication goes a long way. And when you don't communicate, when you make a mistake, you acknowledge it and say, we didn't do this right. You can't really go back. You can only go forward. But then you say, we will do better starting tonight. We will do better starting tonight. And I think you will. I hope you will. I did not know the reason, Margie, I'm glad you raised the issue of the order of the meetings, because I frankly wondered why the conversation with you and your members didn't happen before the public meeting. Now I understand that, and I'm sure, I hope that that's going to be very productive. I want to raise some issues that we did raise with you last night, beyond the communication. And the main concern that I have is that if these paid staff leave this station, they may never come back. And what I said to you last night, I'm going to sort of paraphrase what Delegate Pena-Melnick said. The buck does not really stop with you. You are at-will employees of the county executive. You could be gone tomorrow. The buck stops with Angela Olsen-Brooks. As Delegate Pena-Melnick said, make your voices loud and clear, whatever that takes, whatever that looks like. She is the one that's accountable to all of you. If there is going to be assurance that these paid staff are coming back eventually, that needs to be in writing. But I go back to the points that some of these citizens made. If things are so bad here, you could actually close and condemn this building. You could. It would not be popular. I get that. So that's why it seems a little disingenuous that you're only looking to move out the paid folks and leave the volunteers behind. That's my take on it. You can address that, in your own way, but that's a very serious concern. And then lastly, these issues that were discovered in December, I'm told by Margie and others, they aren't that serious. Not that they don't need to be addressed, but they're not life-threatening. So I think you need to address that in a credible way. Why are they so serious that even though you keep saying we haven't taken staff out of here, this building is open, yes, we're all sitting here, you have a deadline that you have set to take these folks out. And unless you take a step back, as Delegate Pena-Melnick requested, and seriously consider the trailers or some other alternative, we're hurtling toward that deadline in early February. I don't think anyone wants to see that happen, and you need to take this message back to the county executive. Thank you.
And I just want to add for the record that the 21st District this past fall put in a bond request, and it doesn't mean that we're going to get the whole amount, but it's for $1.5 million for the elevator for this building. That was already in the works. And code issues.
Thank you all. Next to the podium, we'll have Mr. Lee Lutz, President of the Prince George's County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lee Lutz. I am president of the Prince George's County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association. First, let me say this. The association does not support this plan to remove the career staff from this station. We don't support removing career staff from any station in this county. There are 35 corporations that we as an organization try to bring together and make things operate as a smooth, cohesive unit. Beltsville is one of them. There are 34 other corporations, but we do not support the removal of the career staff. That having been said, if it is in fact a health hazard for people to be in here, or a life hazard for people to be in here, we don't support keeping anyone in here, be it career or volunteer personnel. We would not suggest that anyone stay and work and live in this station if it is going to be a health hazard or a life hazard. Now, a lot of these things in here, in this report, some of them have been taken care of. There are still some of them, and there are a few things that I have a little bit of knowledge of. The plumbing aspect of it, I retired 40 years, I worked in the plumbing industry, so I have a little bit of knowledge of that. However, that also being said, we need to try and work together on this as a whole, and not try and point as many fingers as we seem to be doing. We do, however, unfortunately not always get the official notice. The chief called me this afternoon about this meeting. I knew about the meeting longer ago than that. I found out about the meeting several days ago. And I had planned to be here, and we normally have our board of directors meeting tonight for the county association. I canceled that and asked the board of directors to show up here today, and we do have a lot of the board here, including Margie, who is our treasurer. She is on the board of directors of the county association. There are quite a few of them back around this room, but we all stand in support behind Beltsville here, and we do not want to see the career staff leave this station. But if it is, as we say, a health hazard or a life hazard, then everybody needs to go, not just the career staff. Thank you.
Thank you, President Lutz. Next on the speaking docket will be Mr. Grant Walker, President of the Prince George's County Professional Firefighters and Paramedics Association, Local 1619.
Good evening. First, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Grant Walker. I'm a 12-year professional with the Prince George's County Fire and EMS Department, but I started my career just down the street in College Park as a volunteer. And I got to say that it's really nice to walk into a room of people that support my members as much as you have tonight. The adamant support that I'm hearing from the lady that was in pink, taking off her sweatshirt, and the individuals in this room. Sorry, I don't know your name, but I have to tell you that it's really nice to see the community rally behind my members because they love your community and they love working here. But I will tell you that for the last couple of years, our firefighters have been working more hours than they've ever worked before. We're short firefighters. We can't staff around the clock in all the firehouses that we currently have in this system. And I gotta tell you, while this is a really nice hall up here, I would challenge every one of you to walk down the back steps and take a gander at what you're working with downstairs. Because some of these issues have been issues for a while.
You're saying the back steps, you're saying outside?
Oh no, I'm talking about the internal steps. I would never tell anyone to go out those back steps. I think they're death trained.
Okay, because firefighters go down the hall.
Some firefighters go down the pole, some people go down the steps.
Well,
either way.
A relative that is older than you can go up and down the pole.
Oh, good for that fire pole. Good for that. But here's what I will say is, our members love serving your community. And what I hope comes out of tonight is that we're coming into budget time here in the county. Last year, we asked for 125 people in our budget, and we got 96. That's roughly one fire department or fire station worth of personnel that we did not get in our budget.
So should it be better to be nicer to the volunteers?
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Wait. My husband has been a volunteer for 45 years. So that's equate that to how much, if you had to pay 1 year of a salary, why don't the people that want to move the people out of here give up 1 year of their salary starting this year? Yes, exactly. Because 45 years in the county as a volunteer has saved the county a lot of money. And you're saying $240,000 they gave this firehouse? What's 45 years of volunteering? Volunteer means free. Free.
Ma'am, I'm not here to discredit the work that the volunteers do. I'm just telling you that we have a shortage of personnel here in this department.
So be nice to the volunteers.
We have a great working relationship here in this firehouse. This wasn't created by my members.
No, I know that. So don't do the pavement out. We need that for our
I agree. I think you need more firefighters here in this county. Quite frankly, well, this firehouse, look, we have a whole system here, right? And the reality is that you can go up the street in Laurel and there are 2 firehouses that don't have any members in it right now and that are out of service, which means that this firehouse spends half its time in Laurel. It's a system problem.
I'm more worried about our team.
Okay, well, my grandmother helped
look,
I expected to be here when I die. So
yes,
what
ma'am.
are we doing to keep it?
Well, listen. What I'm saying is that every community in Prince George's County deserves to have adequate fire and rescue response, whether that be career or volunteer. Okay? But at the end of the day, our volunteers have more requirements at their works. They work farther away. They have a lot of family commitments. And so they cannot commit to being at a firehouse 24/7, which means that you have to supplement with career professionals. But that only works if there's enough career professionals in your budget to supplement those volunteers.
If you take away our firefighters, does that mean we get to pay less taxes because we're not getting our money?
That would be a question for your council and your elected officials. I don't run the taxes in this county. I think you deserve fire and rescue personnel 24/7.
Not only that, I mean, I literally live 2 blocks away. The sirens are going 24/7. So what the hell's going to happen when they're not here anymore?
Oh, I agree with you, ma'am. We run 40,000 calls a year more than Montgomery County does. Our budget is $40 million less than Montgomery County, and we have 200 less firefighters.
Wait, you're sitting here talking about like this is a budget decision, but everybody else has been talking about no, this is a safety. So is it a safety issue
what I'm
or
saying,
is it a budget issue?
ma'am,
Why are you taking our firefighters?
I'm not taking anything from you, ma'am.
And that's all we want to hear
Listen, all I'm telling you is that these are the worst working conditions in all of Prince George County's firehouse. Right downstairs.
Last 10 years, how many new firehouses have been built?
That's not acceptable. And let's fix it.
I agree. I would love for all of our firehouses to be fixed. 50% of our facilities are at or have exceeded their lifespan, which comes from county improvement bills. And the previous council member and the current council member are well aware of our staffing and our facility problems here. And I'd ask them to support us as we have this budgetary season and don't have our budget cut, and make sure that your firehouse gets fixed and has staffing as well as the other communities that surround you.
In the last 10 years, how many new firehouses have been built?
One. And it took 20 years to build.
No.
We burnt down a firehouse, or burnt down a house.
I'm new construction. I know we worked on 2 of them.
Okay, what was that? Sir, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm maybe incorrect. Look, I'm here representing people downstairs that love serving your community. That's it. They love serving your community. That's it. I don't have any control over any of this other stuff. Yes.
Safe working environment. I agree. So, but there's been more than one.
Thank you, President Walker. So we're gonna expedite some question and answers. Please don't beat me up with that.
I'm gonna take one right here, just in case you decide to end this meeting a little bit early. I urge you, because you come here at night, you don't know what this community looks like. I urge you to drive over to Beltsville Heights, where the houses are so compact, and you can't even get an engine down the street if everybody is parked on both sides of the street. I urge you to go around all the other sections of Beltsville, where we have single-family housing, but there's not single families in there. These houses have 9, 10. My neighbors across the street have 13 people, 7 cars, and they're wonderful neighbors. So I'm not trying to get into any other issue. The fact that you don't know this community, and that we have a lot of people here. I teach at the local elementary school. I've been there for almost 30 years. We have over 1,200 students and 22 trailers, and we still need more. And you're talking about wanting to end services in this community or diminish them? It doesn't make any sense. And that's because, once again, as usual, the rest of the parts of the county that are incorporated, which would be Jocelyn, Mary, Tom, our neighbors, Greenbelt, Laurel, College Park, and poor little old Beltsville, which is unincorporated, which has no governmental structure of a mayor to advocate for us, gets screwed once again in the end. And it's the same with our schools and community organizations. You do not know this community. And I want to say 2 other points, because I don't really have a lot of contact with the fire department other than making my donation and coming up here for certain events.
We thank you.
Yes, we do. Your timeline is very suspect. All of a sudden, this mysterious person comes in with a complaint in December, and boy, the ball is rolling really fast. I have to say, it just sounds like a setup to me. And the other thing I want to say is, I'm really afraid that your assessment is going to come to the conclusion that the firehouse needs to be shut down.
Yes. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
We won't settle for anything less than trailers. You're not taking them.
Liars.
Good evening. My name is J.D. Perkins. I'm the president of Vansville Heights Citizens Association here in Beltsville. Now, I'm going to be very succinct. Vansville, we have numerous businesses. Some are making lithium batteries. We have 67 townhouses that's going to be put in on Old Baltimore Pike. We have the Bureau of Engraving coming to the Agricultural Center. Now, I live exactly 1.2 of a mile from this station. What I have heard here tonight is very, very suspect. First of all, we contacted our representatives because there was a rumor Now, if you're working with the community, there shouldn't be a rumor. You would simply send out a notification saying, we have some questions and problems and we need to work them out. This is about 20 years ago, we went through the exact same thing. At that time, the volunteers and the paid firefighters, there was a problem. And the volunteers and the paid firefighters split up and some went to Calverton, I think it was. Now, you're saying that you have discovered inequities here. So you're going to close up the station indefinitely until things are corrected. I agree with my representatives. I vote. And I will see to it that everybody in Vansville votes. And I will see to it that they remember who your boss is. Whatever she's running for. This is totally wrong. And that's all I'm saying.
Good evening, everyone. Some of you know who I am, Tony. My name is Andy Bellin. I lived in Beltsville for 63 years. Just moved a few years ago. I was a fire chief here. I've been through this politic game numerous times. When it comes up that, we're not working with the county, items like that reference station, numerous times different fire chiefs wanted to work with us and build a new firehouse. And we were all in favor of it. We realized that times were changing. But every time they came up with a location, push us all the way up to Merkirk and Route 1. Well, that was a political game to backfill where 49 is in Laurel, so they had the coverage. The thought was 11 would cover Branchville, would cover Beltsville. That was the first location. Second location was to close 41 and 31 and put them at the corner of Powder Mill and Gunpowder. Well, that didn't work. There was a cemetery there. Then they wanted to put us up where the salt dome was. Well, we started doing our homework, and we found out that every time they come up with a location, it didn't best serve the citizens of Beltsville. The response time started getting out of kilter. NFPA has a response time guideline, 1710. Tells you how long it's supposed to take for a fire truck to get to your house in an urban situation. Well, I can tell you, back in 2020, my dad lived in Beltsville, up off Cedar Lane. My dad had a stroke. I was called, we went there, we found him. 41 responded with the ambulance and the engine. 11 minutes. From 41, in-house, 11 minutes. Because 31 was out on a call. So that led me to start trying to do some research. Well, I'm a retired firefighter as well. I've worked in Montgomery County for almost 40 years. And I've been involved in a lot of projects through the time. And some of them have dealt with response times. Well, we sat down and did some research, and we took 31 out with no career people. Then we turned around, we plugged in 35 and 41 that had full career staffs. I realize there's other stations, but it's not guaranteed 24/7 response. When we did that, we started doing the areas, and we found out none of those stations, for the most part, would be anywhere in 31's first due in 44 minutes or less. It wasn't happening. You start moving out towards the folks in Vansville, we're talking 13 or 14-minute response times if we're not there. This is how people die. It's real easy to move the career guys around, and I'm a pro-career guy, believe me. But you take them out, what happens when we have the incident across the street? I don't know if this is fact or fiction, but I was informed today that Baltimore had a fatality of a child. And that fire was Baltimore has a rotating program that they close the career station down and move the career people around. Well, guess what? Today, the first new area where the child died was the same place that the station was closed that day. Is this something we want to go with? I don't think so. I think there's a lot more behind this than the station has a faulty sewer system.
Pink shirt, please.
So I don't live in Beltsville. I live right across the street, 5 houses down. It's Beltsville. I live over at Parkville Estates, and typically we are responded to by Calverton, but they're going to be really short. God forbid something happens to one of the 2 elderly communities across the street from Calverton. I mean, the firehouses work together. So why would you want to move the people from here out so that we're all put in peril? And okay, and I realize this is Montgomery County, but I grew up in Tacoma Park. They renovated their historic, I mean, it's such an old firehouse. They renovated that firehouse. They never moved out. I don't even think they put trailers in. Did they? Your mom lived there. They never put trailers in. Their foundation was trash. You can't tell me that that old firehouse didn't have asbestos and a lot of the things that I'm sure you're not talking about tonight. And they did it. I know, it's Montgomery County, but whatever. A firehouse is a firehouse. If you care about your community, then you do what you need to do. And it seems suspect to me too, because we put all of our public people in peril every day. Whether it's a firehouse, a police station, or God help us, a school. So I think PG County needs to do better for all of its citizens. And I think that, yeah, you can call Angela Alsobrook, but good luck to that. And somebody said that this area of the county is let down by PG County. Absolutely. Every single day for decades. So PG County needs to stand up for the district number 1, the northern end, and get its act together, because we get let down every day and nobody seems, I'm not saying nobody seems to care, because I love my representatives. They're not the problem. The problem is the government, who really makes the decisions happen or not happen for us. So.
Thank you.
Okay, my concern is if the paid staff is taken from here, and God forbid there is a fire or anything else that requires the department to respond, what if the other ones are on call? What if Calverton's on call? What if Greenbelt's on call? I mean, it happens. It happens. Then what? Then who's going to respond? I mean, that's my concern. And with the way the area is growing, like with the mint coming, who's going to respond to that? I mean, there is a lot to take in consideration. So that's my concern. It's like, if other stations are on call, then what? Thank you.
Thank you. One more question, then we have to get to a very important meeting with the command staff, meeting with volunteer leadership tonight. Back row and the gray sweatshirt, please.
Hello. My name is Lydia Ginter. I've lived in Beltsville my entire life. I just actually recently moved to South Laurel, but I'm basically the same distance from the station, so it still matters to me. My question is, so in the 2010 Prince George's County Master Plan, this station was scheduled to be either refurbished or replaced, and all of the other fire stations on that list were also slated to be replaced or renovated. That was 14 years ago. We're here, and that's a problem. The other problem is I wasn't able to cross-check all of the stations that were renovated and or replaced, but are we going to do this song and dance for the other ones too? Because are you going to fill a room full of angry people that yell at you for an hour? Because that doesn't seem like a great use of time for anybody here. So maybe we plan next time. Thank you.
If I may, I have a request quickly. I know you're about to have a meeting. I know you're about to have a meeting, right?
Can you commit to coming back to the community with a plan after you have this meeting to keep the community informed so that there are no rumors and we hear it straight from you with a plan? Can you do that?
We've committed, I've already committed to communicating.
Not communicating, having another meeting, because people, not everyone has emails, so that we can come back and you can say, and we're gonna promise to let them present it. This is the plan that we have, whether it's trailers, whether it's leaving 1 or 2 people here, career, whether it's finding some money to fix it. Can you come back to the community again?
We'll come back to the community.
And when, what do you think? What time frame? More or less, more or less.
Need a deadline.
More or less.
Give me a chance to speak. So we will commit to coming back to this community within 2 weeks.
Within 2 weeks. Okay, thank you very much.
With Chairman.
Tom, you're going to make sure it gets scheduled and make sure that everyone gets notice to come back in 2 weeks.
I got this meeting scheduled. I get that meeting scheduled.
All right.
This concludes the community meeting. Thank you all so much. Be patient, give us time to get the plan together. The chief will be meeting with the volunteer leadership and come up with a plan. Thank you all.